Europe has been hit with yet another terrorist atrocity after at least 22 people were killed in an attack on the Manchester arena claimed by ISIS. The second attack on the UK in the space of 2 months. Victims, many of them teenage girls, massacred, mutilated, maimed. Why does this keep happening? Because our political class has demoted the most basic role of government to protect the lives of its people and replaced it with a different role. Tolerance. Tolerance of women being abused and harassed on the street. Tolerance of rape gangs abducting and abusing young girls for years. Tolerance of all the barbarisms of Sharia law. Tolerance of terrorist attacks. Tolerance is now more important than the basic right to life. Tolerance. Tolerance of terror being part and parcel of living in a major city, according to London Mayor Sadiq Khan.
Sensitivity stuff is baloney. The mayor of London, who is actually a Muslim sympathizer, who actually represented Imam al-Qaradawi, one of the most notorious radical terrorist imams, who's actually banned from Britain right now. The same mayor representing him, he has no business lecturing Americans about who we get in and who we get out.
Europe is getting used to attacks like this, Mika. We have to, because we are never going to be able to totally wipe this out. As ISIS gets squeezed in Syria and Iraq, we're going to see more of these kinds of attacks taking place in Europe, and Europe is starting to get used to that.
Only one way Britain should respond to attacks such as Manchester. That is by carrying on exactly as before.
Just carry on. Forget about it. Be tolerant until it happens again and again and again. Tell me, how do the parents of dead kids just carry on exactly as before? How do the teenage girls whose legs have been blown off just carry on exactly as before?
As much as I'm praying for Manchester, I'm praying for Muslims who have to deal with racism and Islamophobia due to this tragedy.
Right, so that's what our main concern should be after dozens of children have been blown up. People being mean to Muslims. As a society, we need to make a choice. Which do we value more? Protecting the feelings of Muslims or preventing our children from being blown up?
Islamophobia and sickening fake news is rife. Tonight is showing a lot of people to be vile humans.
Yeah, vile humans follow a belief system that justifies massacring teenagers at a pop concert. Was political correctness to blame for one of the accomplices in the attack escaping detection? This eyewitness says she spotted a woman acting suspiciously and told security, but they did nothing.
Looked very suspicious. She was fidgeting all the time with a bag on the floor across her. She was by herself.
What was she doing?
She was looking in the direction of where the explosion actually happened all night and smirking to herself.
The suspicious individual was hard to understand, suggesting English wasn't her first language. The woman who reported the incident was then lectured for making the suspicious individual feel uncomfortable.
How would you like it if someone accused you of this? We'll look into it. And nothing was done about it. 1 to 2 minutes before the concert finished, this lady disappeared. And then, of course, the explosion went off.
Is she suggesting that security did nothing because the suspicious individual was Muslim, and to ask her to leave would have been politically incorrect? We'll never know. What we do know is this. Almost certainly, nothing will change. Again, nothing is going to change because we have a political class and a culture that deems hurt feelings to be of more concern than mangled, dead children. 90% of terror victims are Muslims killed by other Muslims. This is the culture we're importing.
So we've had this situation in the Middle East where we've had all this bombing and destruction and chaos and catastrophe externally created by the United States, NATO, Britain. And this has forced large numbers of people to leave. And this wave into Europe has of genuine people who deserve our help because of the situation that the West has put them in, has been joined by vast numbers of other people who are not refugees but are seeking to get into Europe. And it's being allowed to happen for this reason. They want a world government. And under the world government, they want these super states. They want the European Union, of course, the American Union, the Pacific Union, all these super states under the world government. And these super states are designed not to be countries any longer, but to be broken up into regions, subordinate regions that are easy to control. And you're going to create conflict. You're going to create resentment. And you're going to create divide and rule conflict in Europe between those who are coming in and those that are already there.
ISIS fighters are returning from Syria and flooding into Europe en masse under cover of the refugee wave, and European countries are welcoming them in. Because tolerance! This is tolerance. This is diversity. This is the future our leaders have chosen for us.
I mean, you may as well just put up the white flag of surrender. To say, we're just going to normalise terrorism. And whenever anybody says, look, surely we should security check people, we should make sure that newcomers into our country agree with our values, gets condemned. And what I'd like to see from the French Prime Minister and from Sadiq Khan, before they say anything, is an apology for what their policies and their ideas have done to all of us.
At what cost will you continue to defend the welcome mat you have extended to a culture hell-bent on your demise through jihad and cultural integration? The high cost of the lives of your own children and your heritage?
We have a choice. We have hope. Don't let them tell you not to be angry. Don't let them tell you to just go on with life as normal, because that's not bravery. It's cowardice. Enough hashtags, enough vigils, enough celebrity platitudes. It hasn't worked. We need change. We need action.